Hi, and welcome back to This Week in Biotech weekly video summaries. Today is edition 55, covering biotech and pharma news from May 30th to June 7th, 2025. And we have a lot to cover today. There were many ASCO breakthroughs, billion-dollar deals, gene therapy turbulence, so let's dive right in. One of the biggest headlines from ASCO 2025 came from AstraZeneca's SERENA-6 trial, where the company showcased game-changing results for its investigational drug called camizestrant. It's an oral selective estrogen receptor degrader, or SERD, and these are results from a phase 3 trial where this drug was tested in women with HR-positive, HER2-negative advanced breast cancer. And they were already on a standard treatment. But here's what made the trial different. Instead of waiting for tumors to grow and symptoms to show and worsen, doctors used circulating tumor DNA. So imagine tiny fragments of the DNA that the tumor releases into patients' blood to detect early resistance mutations in the estrogen receptor gene called ESR1. When this mutation showed up, patients were switched early from their standard of care to camizestrant before any radiographic progression was even observed. And this early move paid off because the patients that were switched saw a 56% reduction in the risk of disease progression or death compared to those who stayed on standard therapy. And I think these results are a major step forward, not just for endocrine therapies, but for personalized cancer medicine. This is the first trial to show that real-time blood monitoring can guide proactive treatment changes throughout the trial, potentially setting a new standard in how we manage breast cancer. So in other news from ASCO, Summit's ivonescimab, which is a PD-1 VEGF bispecific antibody, cut the risk of disease progression or death by 48% in patients with EGFR mutant non-small cell lung cancer, according to their phase 3 data. But while the overall survival trend was positive, it did not reach statistical significance, leading to some investor hesitation despite the strong progression-free survival data. But ASCO 2025 wasn't just about the data, it also sparked major strategic moves. BioNTech landed a $1.5 billion upfront deal with Bristol Myers Squibb to co-develop a PD-L1 VEGF bispecific antibody following promising mesothelioma data presented at the meeting. The drug showed early signs of tumor shrinkage and could offer a new option in this hard-to-treat cancer. Meanwhile, Sanofi announced it will acquire Blueprint Medicines for $9.1 billion, securing full control of Ayvakit, the only approved treatment for systemic inflammation by mast cells called mastocytosis. Ayvakit brought in $479 million in revenue in 2024 and grew 60% year over year. Outside of oncology, Regeneron made two bold moves in obesity space. First, their muscle-preserving antibody combo showed it could retain 80% of lean muscle mass, typically lost with semaglutide alone, while also boosting fat loss. This is a signal that the next frontier in weight loss drugs isn't just the number on the scale, but also body composition and overall metabolic health. And then they licensed a dual GLP-1 GIP agonist from China's Hansoh Pharma for $2 billion. This candidate is now in phase 3 clinical trials, and it expands Regeneron's pipeline and positions the company as a serious player in the next generation of metabolic therapies. Next is REGENXBIO reported a striking results in its Duchenne gene therapy program, with patients hitting 118% of normal microdystrophin expression, which is a major biological milestone. But the market barely flinched. In fact, shares dropped 11%, underscoring the lingering skepticism around gene therapy. While the science may be strong, there are concerns about scalability, pricing, long timelines, and they do weigh on investor confidence. Still, the space got a regulatory win. Sarepta this week received an FDA platform technology designation for its viral vector called RAAV RH74, and this opens door for faster, more predictable reviews across future gene therapy programs using the same backbone. So looking at the markets this week, biotech stocks saw a modest rebound. The XBI index climbed about 3.5%, IBB was up over 2%. It's a welcome shift, but both indices remain well below their highs. I think it signals investor cautiousness. Omada Health IPO'd on Friday, June 6th. The virtual chronic care provider is now trading under the ticker symbol OMDA, priced its initial public offering at $90 per share, and closed the day at $23, marking a 21% gain from the IPO price. In clinical headlines, we saw Moderna's new COVID-19 vaccine, mNEX Spike, just getting FDA approval. It's a smaller dose, more effective in seniors, and it's fridge stable. It could possibly reshape the COVID-19 and respiratory vaccine landscape this upcoming fall. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want to know more about last week's developments, head to Substack or LinkedIn and you can read the edition 55 in full. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.